Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about using Adobe's Portfolio app to create a website. You'll find it here in the Creative Cloud. You just have to open it up. And the easiest way to find it is do a search for it. It's a portfolio and it comes up. The app is right down here. It says Portfolio app. It's a web app, so it's not a app that you install on your desktop computer. It's everything's done through a web portal. So you just click on that, and then it comes up to here. It kind of talks about it, but then you will actually want to launch it up here in the upper right corner, and then it opens up in a web browser. I'm just going ahead and kind of close my Creative Cloud app, and then go straight to the Portfolio app. Now it comes up to here. You can do a couple things. There's a couple options. It says collection of work or web page or welcome page, and we're actually going to do a collection of work. The Portfolio app is part of your Adobe Creative Cloud subscription. So this is part of the whole suite, and it's a way of a couple things you can do with it. You can actually have a website with your own name on it, and then you just have to direct it to go to this particular app in order to actually see your website. Or the other option is to create a website straight from it as part of your subscription. So we're going to build a full application, and then with the full portfolio, there's actually various templates. This makes it a lot easier to create a website not only for desktop but also for handheld or tablets, and it does all the coding for you. So basically you have to just bring the content into the layout. Now there's different types of layouts depending on what you want, but if you really look at these, they're all built in a grid, and you'll have some dynamic parts of being able to enlarge it and look at it in more detail. And I'm just going to pick one right off the top here to kind of start us off with. And then it kind of gives you, here's what it kind of looks like. You can see, like, if you were to scroll the site inside here, it would here's be your logo or the title of the website, the various different pages here, the contact information. Then you can also have various icons for your social. And then you have here there's a little description, and then the different types of websites, and you can program the rollovers and everything. It's a fairly straightforward application. So I want to say I want to use this theme. Oh, by the way, you can actually take a look at what it's going to look like on handheld or a tablet or a handheld device, so you can see how it functions a little bit. Kind of gives you that general, again, proportion and size, but not actual the device not the actual application until you actually see it in one of those devices. So I want to use that theme. I'm going to create the site. Kind of opens it up here, and it's laid out very much like any other Adobe product. You have here's the page that you're working with, right over here. They're all blank because you're about to fill it up. Over here on the left side is the toolbar, so to speak. And I'll kind of walk you around through all these different parts here, but it pretty much talks about the masthead, which is going to be at the top, or the footer, which is going to be at the bottom, and the pages and integrations and the various themes that you might have. So I want to close that here. It's really it's very interesting. It's pretty much like a drag and drop. I want to say here, I can change the title here. This is the masthead title. I want to say portfolio of student work. And I'm going to turn that off. If you don't want it, you can usually just blank it out and delete all the text, and you won't see it. So I add a page, and so each of these thumbnails here will be a different page. So I want to add one page, and I want to add it as a custom page, Title of the page would be, let's see here. Oh, you know what? I need some artwork here. So let me find my artwork real quick that I had pulled up here. There we go. And I'm just going to take a quick peek at this and see what it is. Whoops. That's a sculpture, so I'm just going to say sculpture. Bird in a cage. How about that? We'll just call it that. So the page title is going to be and it's going to be part of the destination work, which you can see here, just underneath here. That's going to be the category. And I'm not going to use it the home page because I have my home page kind of set up where I want it to be, which is going to be that front page you saw. I want to say create the page. Now, one thing to remember is that all your pages are here, except that you'll find them right here in the navigation bar. And I'm going to add an image. Whoops, can I do it? Oh, it asked me to do it this way. So I'm going to just kind of hunt it down in my folders real quick. See if I can. There we go. And there's that first file, bird in a cage. And I want to say open. And it puts the image in there. If you look at the when you're scrolling and you're hovering above a box, a container, so there's a header and then there is the image itself, you can actually click on that and you can do a couple things with it, such as add alternate text or add a link to it. You can link it. You can move it along in this page. Or what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the width and margins. You can actually see the size of it, and if I want to actually shrink it smaller, I can just do that. I want to say 50%. So it's not too big, but it kind of depends. What I do recommend is that each page that you create, that you be consistent on the size, so that way it's not very jarring for the reader to have different sizes on things. And there's a couple of things you can do the alignment if you wanted to go left or right. And remember, when you're looking at this, there's the boundary is the page container itself. You can see here there's the page container, and that includes both the header and the image. Now the page container is where your boundaries are for the left and right, and I'm going to leave it center for now. And then the handy thing right here is that if you want a little bit more space at the top or a little bit more space at the bottom, which you don't see until you add a picture below it. So I'm going to add one more picture below it. You see here, if you go right below at the bottom of the image, you see add. And now I'm going to add another image. And maybe the next image will be this one here. Usually, if I were to do this, I would put the same images or variations of the same image or the project within it, but I'm just going to, for example purposes, kind of just throw some images down here. And you can see that there's the image comes in, and then you can come through here to the again, come back to the image settings for the one above. Whoops, sorry, I'm already here, and say I want to increase the space a little bit more between the two. Now what I generally would recommend is to do it on both images. So I wanted to say 20 pixels this way, and then on this one, because I want to control it, and once you select the each image you're going to control, the left toolbar will change accordingly, and you can see it's already max width, and I'm just going to mix that width just about the same size, and then it already has a 20 pixel below, and I want to put 20 pixels above, so it's 20 pixels on both the images on the top and bottom. Okay, now let's see here. I want to go back here and get out of this for a moment. I want to go back to the pages. Oops, sorry, it's been a while since I've used this, so it takes me a moment. Oops, I kicked out. Let me go back in here real quick. I want to edit the site. So looking at your navigation bar, this is how you kind of move around from page to page. We're looking at the bird in the cage. That's within that work. I want to go back up here. Whoops. And go to the overall portfolio. Okay, so that brings you back to the home page or the landing page. From there, I can add another page. And again, I just do a page. And then what's the next one up on the sample work here? That's a painting, so I'm just going to say painting. And I want to keep it in within the work section. And I'm not going to make it a home page. I'm going to create that page. Here again is the page again. It's a painting. You can see where I put the title in there. I put the image, third image. And there we go again. There's the next one. And again, you know, when you're switching from, and I'm going to just navigate from the painting to the bird in the cage. You know, I want to kind of keep that relative size the same. So I might look at, you know, going back to the paintings. You can actually use the size where it says 56%, and maybe it will work for the next one here for the painting, and I'll go 56%. Okay. All right, so in this one here has, you know, a little feature here. It says more in the collection. That, you know, you can, you know, like a recommendation that you might want to put in there. And then here's your footer information. I'll cover that in a second. So I'm just going to go back to the landing page. Now you can see I have a couple of things right now. Each container, like even the masthead, you can do a number of different things for it. You can actually change the background color if you want. So this is really like a little, you know, exploration of click and drag and see what it does. There we go. So I'll just go back to here real quick and show you a couple other features to kind of get you started here. So we're back here. I want to close off that masthead option here. And we'll talk about the pages. So here, so this is basically the content of the menu, which is collectively seen as pages. Here's an opportunity where you can actually say rearrange it. So if you want the bird in the cage to come first, you just pull it up to the top here. And then, let's see if, maybe I would just move the painting below it. And then it rotates and it flips it for you. Whoops, I put it in its own category. It does take, again, a little bit of getting used to. So now I flipped it because the painting was first. Now the bird in the cage is now first in the grid. There's other options that you can go to and explore it a little bit. You can edit the page title if you want. What I find is a very handy thing to do is duplicating pages and then replacing the images, because that way the parameters are already set, such as that 20 pixels below and the top of the image. If you duplicate the page, it'll just make a copy, you know, just say it's a copy, and that's the copy, and that's at the top. Oops, there's the copy. And you know, if you want, you can ultimately customize it. I find duplicating existing pages very easy and very efficient. And let's say this one here, that's a photograph, so I'll just change that to photography. Whoops. Sorry, I have to edit the page information. Sometimes you have to do it over here, sometimes you don't. Just takes a getting a little used to. And you can see that it already kind of starts building out the sections or the pages in here. This is where you can do metadata and add information for the page that'll be part of the search engine optimization. And then, you know, I come over here and say, that's not a photography. That's, you know, something else. So I want to say I want to replace the image. And then pick and choose which image goes in here. There's the photography. I say OK. And then if I don't want this image, so for instance, if I don't, you know, this is not part of the photography, I just say delete the image. So it's a very intuitive way of kind of designing your pages. A couple of things you can also do over here. So for instance, you can insert a logo. So if you have your logo, remember it's a JPEG. Also remember that your images should be a JPEG as well. Here's also we can create the rollover information. I want to make it a little garish today, so that way just for demonstration purposes. Scroll that down over here. There's the color of the logo, and then I'll just make a garish rollover just for fun, maybe. And then now you can see if I roll over, it turns to that green that I put on there. Okay. You can also change, you have some ability to change like the type of font that it is or the style of the font. And again, if you don't want that, you could actually just upload a logo in here. Okay, but I'm just going to leave it right there for our working purposes. And then also give the navigation, you can customize as well further. You can customize the width of the box, I believe. This is it. Yeah, or the width of the box. If you want to just tuck that in just a little bit here. You can do the alignment again, left align or right align. Right there. And again, you can also adjust the size and the height and stuff like that. If you want to say for instance, change the page name, it says work, you can actually just go in here and say edit collection title. So basically the template that they give you, you can fully customize to your needs. So it says, say, portfolio. Okay. And now I'm going to come down here to the contact information. This is the most important, one of the most important pages I find in here. We're going to see, we'll leave that to edit. Actually, let's get to that page real quick. So here's the contact information. You can program it to basically fill out a form that will capture their name, their email address, and then the message that you want them that they can write you. There's other, again, you can customize the form if you go in here. You can fully customize it. You can add different fields in here. You can tell it what the submit button would be. Right here, you can change the name of the text of the submit button. You can change the color of the submit button. You can change it to the hover or the rollover. Those are all right here. So there's a lot of different ways to kind of control all of this. The form options, you tell it where to send the email to, so you can put in your personal email wherever it may go, and then that way when they hit the submit button, it sends a message straight to you. So ultimately, everything you need is going to be right over in here to kind of control that. Feel free to look at my website. I revamped my website about a year and a half ago, using just Portfolio because I found it was the most efficient tool. Again, by no means I'm a web designer, but if I have the tools to create a website that looks nice and clean, just for portfolio purposes, this is a great application to use. There's a bevy of other online applications that you can use, such as Weebly or Squarespace. They're great applications. They all kind of function the same way, but this portfolio app from Adobe really makes designing websites more efficient and easy. And one thing you might consider is working on the footer. I might actually edit that footer, and so that way it doesn't say powered by Adobe, Portfolio Adobe, and gives a website that you can go to. And I would just say maybe this is where a lot of times a lot of artists will put copyright. Oops, well, I spell it correctly. There we go. And you can see it's already putting the copyright information as you're live typing. You can change the size and everything, the color, all those things as well. Now, the key is that this is the working process of your website. There is the green button down here, which is called the Publish Site. Once you are ready, everything looks nice and clean, efficient where you want it to be, you publish the site. and it creates a URL for you. I'll see what I can do here. I'll just go ahead and publish it, because you can always take it down later. And then you can visit your site. You can see it gives you a URL specifically within the Adobe world. And I'm just going to view the site. And this is what it looks like right now. Apparently I didn't change some things, or I didn't save it. But you get the general idea. Once you kind of work with it a little bit, you can pretty much fulfill an entire website very quickly. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Email me. Thanks. Bye.